53 years old Michael Von Gartler was an emergency room physician in Boulder, Colorado. He was an outdoor man and enjoyed spending time in nature. He had a 20-year-old daughter named Makana who had just finished her second year of study in University of Colorado at Boulder. She was majoring in ecology and evolutionary biology. She had also a boyfriend and was in a long-term relationship with him when on June 14, 2011, she decided to go have a summer trip with her dad and enjoying time in nature. She told him she had put her phone on roaming so she couldn't talk. She also told him they had a great time and that they were going to try to climb a 14,000 feet high mountain Missouri tomorrow. Another thing that she told him was that she'll be able to see him in few days and that she misses him. On June 22nd, Makana sent another text to her boyfriend stating they were going to climb Mount Missouri tomorrow and drive back on June 23rd. She also told him she was able to see him on June 25th. Few days later, Makana's boyfriend tried calling and texting Makana without getting any response. He then called Makana's mother, but she said she had no news of the two. It was at that point that the sheriff department was notified. Soon, a search effort was organized and helicopters were at the summit of the Mount Missouri looking for the two, but they had no success. The mountain the two were on is very dry and doesn't have much vegetation. The only spot that has some greens are on the eastern hill right below the summit. Searchers covered 800 square miles looking for the pair. On the 8th day of the search effort, a search helicopter dropped the team near a summit and saw something unusual in the forest close to their location. The ground team investigated the phenomena and found two bodies. They were Michael and Makana. At first, the searchers weren't positive they had found them missing, but later the coroner confirmed. The bodies were found on 1,200 feet high on the northeastern side. They were found 500 feet above the main trail. It was a very steep and grassy spot. Investigators couldn't say for sure what happened to the two, but they had some theories. The bodies were found in a location that was searched multiple times the days before. The sheriff stated they certainly fell simultaneously. He said the two plunged about 1,000 feet on a 60% grade hill. Searchers who found the bodies were interviewed later and they said the pair had to reach the summit and were descending when they fell. Searchers believed they were around 200 feet from the summit when they fell. But the sheriff had a different idea and stated to news outlet that they had no idea where they were when they fell. But there was more theories and stories coming out regarding this incident. On July 5, 2011, ABC7 told its viewers that the pair had died from blunt force trauma injuries to their head and neck. This was said by Coroner Randy Ametis. He also continued, the evidence showed the two died on the day they began their hike. He said no crime was committed and he declared the death as pure accident. The coroner stated the injuries are not inconsistent with the fall, but he ruled out any foul play. It's worth mentioning this trail is not hard to navigate and usually accidents don't happen in such a trail. It's puzzling how searchers could miss the bodies for 7 days if they had been there for the entire time. They were searching the area daily without finding them and suddenly on the 8th day they were found. It's worth mentioning the day the two were hiking was a very good day without any rains or winds. What really happened in this incident remains a mystery to this day. On July 6, 1958, the Dowd family went to Eagle Pond for some nature time. This pond is 3,000 feet long and 1,500 feet wide, which counts as a small lake. It's located on the west side of Titusville Mountain in the state of New York. The family was building a summer camp at Eagle Pond when in the afternoon they realized they hadn't seen their 5-year-old daughter Brenda in the area for a while. The family looked for the girl and after not having any success notified the sheriff department. The army, National Guards, emergency crews and volunteers came to help with the search on the same day that Brenda went missing. As soon as the searchers showed up, a heavy rain started in the area and continued for 2 days. Searchers had to go through rough swamps and thick bushes to search for Brenda. Canine dogs came to the scene, but they didn't pick up a scent or didn't want to track. Airplanes and helicopters were in the air as well without having any success. 2 days after Brenda disappeared, 2 men were 2 miles from the spot Brenda was last seen, searching a swamp when they found a 5-year-old girl in the middle of it. She had scratches all over her body with many insect bites. She didn't have any shoes on. She had also lost her blue shorts and blue blouse. She was only wearing panties. To get there, Brenda had to cross a ridge and find her way through a swamp. Brenda talked about her experience and stated she had seen 3 bears, which 2 were asleep and 1 was awake. She was also worried about what her mom would say when she finds out her shoes were gone. Brenda couldn't explain her full experience from the time she was gone until the time she was found. We will never know what really went on during the time she was gone. On May 14, 1916, 4-year-old James Carroll was playing in the yard of his home in a rural area of Newcastle Junction of Pennsylvania. James' mother was in the house doing the housework. When she went to check on his son, she couldn't find him. She started searching the immediate area and then notified the neighbors, and they all searched until 1 a.m. At that point, Mrs. Carroll notified the law enforcement and a search effort was organized. There was a swampy area very close to the yard James was playing at. Officers brought bloodhound dogs to the scene, but they didn't follow any scent. There were some theories that got among the locals which they believed the boy was abducted. They had found some footprints of a grown man close to the yard and they assumed he probably took James. It's interesting they used the word footprint and not tracks or boot marks. Searchers brought more help and truly searched the swamp and areas inaccessible to common man without finding any evidence of James being ever there. The search leader was positive they had searched the surrounding area of the residence completely. After 2 days of searching and not finding anything, several men were in the swamp picking mushrooms when they came across the body of James. His body was already decomposing, and searchers were astonished how the boy could get where he was found without having any help. Searchers knew they had searched this exact location several times before the finding and there was nothing there at those times. None of the searchers believed James could manipulate his way to the spot they found his body without having help. How he got there and died, and why would he leave the safety of his house to go to that swampy spot remains a mystery to this day.